10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 242. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 242 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Just wanted to take a quick moment to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays out there. This is, of course, coming out on Christmas Day and will be the last episode of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast in 2020. A year that most of us probably hope to forget, but I hope that you got something out of the episodes this year and continue to get better, even though the circumstances really everywhere in the world have been less than ideal. Maybe the silver lining is that it's given you a little bit of time to work on your instrument. But anyways, just wanted to wish you a happy holidays and a great end to 2020. And a beginning to 2021, which will hopefully be much better. So I wanted to take a quick second and give a shout out to our final patrons of the year 2020. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, this is a listener-supported podcast, and the way that you can support the podcast is through the platform Patreon. That is where we put all of the materials to these episodes, and that is where people choose to support us with a couple of different donation levels. So if you would like to support the show and see everything that you get in return, please go over to 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, get yourself signed up for instant access. So let me give a thank you to our new $3 patron. Thank you to Glenn. And we've got a bunch of new $5 patrons. Thank you to Bob, Jeff, Jason, and Patrick. Thank you all so much for choosing to spend your hard-earned money with us. So again, if you want to get yourself signed up, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners. So this week we are going to finish up the year by finishing up our series on the minor blues. And even though the title doesn't say it, this is a Tune of the Month episode. I have prepared an etude for you, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what have we done this month? Well, we've basically been reharmonizing the minor blues to make it more interesting. I've shown you a bunch of places and a bunch of chord substitutions. So what we're going to do in this final episode is talk about and listen to this etude that I've prepared for you over the C minor blues. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and reharmonized it a heck of a lot more than what we've talked about this month. Now, you will see some of the chord substitutions that we did talk about in the previous 3 episodes, but what you're also going to see are a lot more chord substitutions that we didn't talk about. And I think this is going to be valuable for you, both because you are going to have to go through and figure out what I'm trying to do with those chord substitutions and how they make sense, why I put them in there. And that is going to be a great assignment for you because through listening to these episodes, you understand what reharmonization is. You understand why I'm doing it. Now it's kind of time to take your analysis skills and your ability to see what's going on in a chord progression and make sense of it. And then hopefully you can actually utilize those ideas in your own solo. It's time to take that skill to the next level. And that's really what I want you to do this week. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually play the etude, and then we'll talk about it just a little bit. So even if you're a Patreon member, I don't want you to look at the sheet while you're listening to this the first time. I want you to just listen the first time through. And what I want you to listen for is places in the chord progression where I'm really stepping outside of the traditional chords that are in the minor blues, and it's very, very clear that I'm superimposing, that I'm reharmonizing. So even if you have the PDF in front of you, put it away for now. You can go back and look at it later and really do that analysis. But the first analysis that I want you to do is with your ears, and then we'll get the eyes and the brain involved. All right, so here is 4 courses over the minor blues, and you're going to really hear me get adventurous at points in this etude. Let's check it out. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you're looking forward to playing it. Now you can actually get out the sheet and take a peek at what I'm doing. So I did a lot. I did a lot with that in terms of reharmonization. And it's maybe even more than I would have done if I was actually improvising. I was really trying to pack it in for you guys into 4 choruses. So some of those reharmonizations are going to be easy to figure out, and some of them are actually going to be really difficult, but I want you to give it your best shot to figure out what I was kind of thinking when I did those certain reharmonizations. That's going to be really important because we don't just reharmonize randomly. It's for a reason. It kind of has to make sense within the constraints of the actual progression. Normally, I'm trying to get to the next key center or the next chord in a specific way, like we've talked about this month. But some of them are really strange. I'm thinking about one part in particular that I think a lot of you are maybe going to have a little bit of trouble figuring out what I was doing there. But another thing that's really important is that I'm trying to balance these really complicated reharmonizations with some simplicity as well. So what you'll notice is that throughout the 4 choruses, I do not take every single opportunity presented to me to do a reharmonization. I think it's really important to balance these complicated out there reharmonizations with just some simplicity, just playing the chords at their base level. So you may see an expanse or a certain section of the chord progression where I actually opted to not do anything. And I think those are almost as important as the places where I did choose to do a whole bunch of different stuff. So keep that in mind. There's a lot to think about while you're looking at this. Now, one other thing you will notice is that the backing track that I prepared, I actually wrote in the reharmonizations that are in the etude. And I'm also going to include that for the $5 Patreon members. I'm going to include that backing track with these reharmonizations baked into it. And what that will give you an opportunity to do is try your hand at the chord changes that I've written with a backing track that's doing the same thing. So if you're a $5 Patreon member, really download that. And after you've studied and learned the etude and figured out, made sense of the reharmonizations, I want you to also try improvising using those same chords that I have put in there using that backing track. I think that'll be really fun for you. And also very difficult, but that's kind of the point here, right? We're trying to challenge ourselves. So before we sign off for the day, I also wanted to let you know about something that I'm very excited about coming up in 2021 that really pertains to this episode and what we've been talking about this month. So you guys remember our old friend Brent Vardstra from the Learn Jazz Standards website and podcast, an amazing jazz education resource. And he is putting together a virtual workshop called Learn Jazz Live 2021. And this event is just going to be amazing. And what it is a virtual jazz summit, and it's being held February 27th to 28th, 2021. It's a really powerful 2 day online event that brings together some of the biggest names in jazz education. And there's going to be workshops, teaching, inspiration. It's going to be ridiculous. So check out these names that I'm going to be joining as a speaker at this summit. So we have speakers such as Jamie Aebersold, Jeff Schneider, Amy Nolte, Jens Larson, Brandon Lowe, Peter Martin, Adam Manis, Bob Reynolds, Quist, and a lot more. And this is going to be amazing. You're going to get access to 20 plus workshops on a bunch of different topics. Every single one of them looks absolutely amazing. You're going to get speaker handouts, live Q&As, and a bunch of giveaways. And I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this. I'm really honored that Brent asked me to do this, and I'm just super pumped. My workshop is going to be about reharmonizing jazz tunes to get the most out of your solos. Exactly what we were talking about this month, but I'm going to be doing it on a different form than the minor blues. We're actually going to be talking about the plain old major blues and how we can really, really tap into the power of that chord progression to make it sound beyond what you thought it could ever sound like. So if you're into the material this month and you got something out of it, you're definitely going to want to pick up a ticket to that event. Now, I'm going to be posting about it on Facebook, but if you want to get your ticket right now, go to 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on the link for episode 242, and you will find a link to purchase your ticket. It's extremely reasonably priced, and it's just going to be amazing. I mean, Jamie Aebersold, Bob Reynolds, Amy Nolte, Jeff Schneider. I mean, this speaker lineup is just ridiculous. So if I know you guys, which I think I do, you're not going to want to miss this. So again, go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on episode 242, and in there you will find a link to learn more about this fantastic jazz summit that's coming up in February. Really, really pumped to present my workshop and to watch everybody else's workshops there. So check that out. All right, everybody, I've really have to thank you for a fantastic year on the podcast. You guys have really inspired me to keep this thing going, and really the community, you guys are the ones that keep this going. You really inspire me to keep putting together these episodes and these lessons. And here's to a great 2021. So I hope everybody has great holidays and a happy new year. And we will see you in January of 2021. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe and healthy out there. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.